time I will complain, but I've been with this young man now, this is our third debate. He pays no attention to time, and I think it's very unfair.
We got it.
I want to thank the Grand Council of Guardians and the National Association of Latino Officers. I really appreciate the opportunity to come here. And as I mentioned, this is the third debate Ken and I have had in 4 days. And his strategy is pretty simple. It's to viciously accuse me of overlooking unethical and unprofessional conduct, overlooking corruption in my office. He accuses my lawyers, who some of you in law enforcement have had the opportunity of working with them. And you know they are among some of the best trial lawyers we have in the city. But he accuses them of being ill-prepared, not being taught ethical conduct. And for heaven's sake, if it was vaguely true that I set off every morning looking to prosecute every African-American Latino kid in Brooklyn, would I really be endorsed by 20 Latino and African-American legislators and district leaders? No, I'm not going to spend much time at all responding to Ken Thompson's attacks. Instead, I'm going to talk to you about some of the programs that we have created over the last 23 and a half years that I've been privileged to be DA, which have been transformative. I became the first prosecutor in the country to have a fully staffed domestic violence bureau with 25 assistant prosecutors, 20 social worker counselors, and today I offer more resources for domestic violence victims like my mother than any place in the country, and more counseling than any place in America for the surviving children of this nightmare, the kind of that I received as a kid. I'm very, very proud of that record, and I was happy to hear you say that this is really a forum. It will give me that opportunity, I hope, to talk about all of the programs that we have created over the last 2.5 decades that have redesigned the office of a public prosecutor, and have, as a result, has had a dramatic effect on public safety in this county.
As usual, back in the day when we went to school, Ken Thompson, you already went to New York City Public Schools. I know you went there. When you were late, they gave you marking on your Delaney card. Remember that? You had to mark on your Delaney card. That's all right. Good job. You know, I'm opening at Caroline's tomorrow. I hope you'll be.
I'm waiting to see you.
Anyway, let's talk about a serious story. One in the news just yesterday, as a matter of fact. 43-year-old man, Carlo Alcides. Police are chasing someone that stole a cell phone. I believe this person went into a house in Brownsville.
My neighborhood.
Okay, and Mr. Alcides, father of 8, 4 family members living inside the house, suffers a heart attack because of all the commotion that's going on in the house. Not only that, to make matters worse, it took 30 minutes to get an ambulance to this man. And he lived blocks away from the hospital. But aside from that, if this case comes to you, Charles Joe Hines, how are you going to handle this case?
Well, the way I handle any case involving police misconduct, criminal conduct, I was a special state prosecutor for the investigation of the criminal justice system for 6 years in this state. I put more corrupt cops in jail than anybody in the state's history. That case that you referred to just came to us this very day. It is under active investigation by both the Rackets Division of my office and the Internal Affairs Bureau of the NYPD.
And Mr. Will ask you that question as well. If you assume this office or win the office, well, how would you handle a case like this? With a situation like this, there's always 2 sides, maybe 3 sides of this story.
What I would do, Dean, is I would make sure we aggressively investigate that case. We would interview as many witnesses. We would impanel the grand jury. See, the issue with the current DA is as follows when it comes to the police. He says that I am viciously attacking him. It is either he lives in Breezy Point or he doesn't. Either Shem Walker was killed on Lafayette Avenue in July 2009, and he has not yet acted on that case, or I'm just making it up. These are facts. Now, what was also a fact is this DA does not have a record of going after the police. Shem Walker is a great example. He came out of his mother's house, saw someone sitting on the steps, told him to move, did not know he was an undercover cop. They started fighting, and that undercover cop pulled out his gun and shot Shem Walker 3 times, right around the corner from where I live with my wife and my 2 kids. That happened in July 2009. This DA has still not told the community if that was a good shooting. So when you bring this other case that just happened in Brownsville, I think it's fair to say that he's going to have the same approach. He does not go after cops. I have a record of prosecuting cops when I prosecuted the cops who torched down Lima and got Justin Volpe 30 years. So I would aggressively investigate. When the cops do right, Dean, I'm going to support them. But when they do wrong, I'm going to have to prosecute them.
So, but in this particular case, you say you would bring it to a grand
I would look at all the evidence, Dean. If the evidence showed that there was possible criminal acts, I would put it in. I certainly wouldn't sit back and let 4 years go by like he did in Shem Walker. All right? So my approach is going to be aggressive. I think the people of Brooklyn need a DA who's going to make sure that when cops do wrong, that they're held accountable. There's going to be one standard of justice with our DA in Brooklyn. Not 2 standards. One for the cops, one for the community.
All right, and once again, I guess it's very good. You can respond to that, and once again, you said you don't want the fighting, so I'm trying to limit that.
But you see,
go ahead.
There's a reason why he does all this. Now, just for the record, by the way, I have had a summer home at Breezy Point for 46 years. I'm a Brooklyn resident, proud of Brooklyn, born and bred, lived in 6 The reason Ben Thompson does this is to try and deflect the fact that in nearly 5 years as an assistant United States attorney, he was never promoted to a supervisory position. And he wants that distraction because he's concerned that the people of this county are going to wonder, what is it about his experience that merits him an opportunity to supervise a staff of 1,200 with 500 assistant district attorneys? That's why he does this. And we have a record that is open and can be reviewed by the press on the question of police brutality and police corruption. It's second to none of anyone in this state.
Let me go to you.
No. We don't want to go back and forth on this because we have a series of questions. Am I right, Mr. Slade?
Yes, indeed.
All right,
But hold on, he just said I had no experience. I think it's only fair to let me explain.
But you have 30 seconds.
Here's the deal. That argument that I don't have experience is the same tired argument that career politicians always use. Look, I'm more than qualified to serve as Brooklyn DA. Look, I went to NYU Law School, worked for President Clinton, served as a federal prosecutor here in Brooklyn. He makes it seem like he's the only one in the Brooklyn DA's office. There are many people who help him run that
10
office.
seconds.
I'm going to hire the best. And if he was so great with his managerial experience, alleged cop shooters wouldn't be allowed out of prison because they failed to get ready for trial. One of his prosecutors would be calling prosecutors.
We're going to have to stop it there.
So if you want to talk about experience, you can't overlook his failed for management experience.
All right, so let's move on. Let's talk about the 250s. Here we go. Stop, question, and frisk. As you know, this week, the federal judge released her ruling on the 250s, basically saying, look, it's racial profiling, and not only that, it's got to be changed. She basically said that, look, as far as I'm concerned, you have to have it, but there's got to be an oversight of this. So overseer's going to watch this program. Let me ask you a 2-part question. First, are you in favor of the stop and frisk program as it's being operated by the city of New York? And do you think that the city of New York should be spending taxpayers' money to try to overturn that decision Charles